for us, for people from Pag, this cheese is not just a cheese, it's not just the food. It's more than a cheese, more than food. It's part of our identity, part of our tradition. You know, I was in New York in 2017, and I cannot explain this excitement that I felt when I saw our cheese in the shops on Manhattan.
You are listening to the Flavor of Croatia podcast, and I'm your host, Zeno Hromin, sharing the very best of Croatian culture, food, and people. In each episode, I explore today's Croatia, speaking with artisans, winemakers, culinary experts, artists, in other words, the people behind the Croatia you love. So let's jump right into today's episode. Today is my pleasure to welcome Martina Pernar. She is a marketing director of Paška Sirana, makers of the world-famous Paški Cheese. Welcome to the Flavor of Croatia.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to have this opportunity to say something about our wonderful cheese from Pag.
Well, now you just called it wonderful, and I know it's wonderful because I ate it all my life since I was a kid, including to this day. Tell me what's so special about Paški cheese. Why has it won so many awards? What is the different about that cheese than any other cheese produced in Croatia?
That is the question that everyone asks us. I like to say that there is no such a big secret about the production of cheese from Pag or Paški Sir. Production is not so different from the production of any other hard or semi-hard cheese. The main secret is that it contains the essence of the island of Pag. It's a very rocky island with a little vegetation, little grass growing on it, and our sheep, Pag sheep, eats that kind of grass that is full of aromatic herbs and also salt that is brought from the Adriatic Sea by the strong wind that blows during winter. So these salty pastures and aromatic herbs, that is something that makes the milk of Pag sheep so special, and also Paški Sir so special.
Okay, well, now that you mention it, I heard you once describing Pag more like a moon than like an island.
Yes.
Meaning there's not a lot of vegetation. So these sheep, they feed on very little vegetation and very salty vegetation. So that affects the actual quality and taste of a cheese?
Pag is often called moon-like island because really when you come to our island, you have a feeling that you are landed on the moon. It's very, very rocky island and a very, very interesting location. It's very interesting that such a good cheese is produced on such a rocky and without vegetation island. We do have some vegetation, but very, very rare, and it's always mixed with rocks, and the rocks are very salty, and the sheep also likes to lick these stones and these salty herbs, full of aromatic herbs as well. So that is what makes milk so special, and in that way also the cheese so special.
My grandmother used to say that we have škrta zemlja, meaning there's not a lot of land in between the rocks.
Yes.
But that's why everything was so delicious, because it had to grow in such a small piece of soil that it wasn't really much of it.
Yes.
Tell me, how does this wind called Bura, which is a north wind that comes from Velebit, how does this affect the island and your production?
Bura is very characteristic for the island of Pag. It is really, really strong during winter, and sometimes I think that some people, for example, that are not used to Bura, when they feel it on Pag, they maybe think that there is a hurricane. It's such a strong wind. Often it makes a lot of damage. But this Bura is a strong ally in production of Paški Sir cheese because it brings salt from the Adriatic Sea to the surrounded pastures. That's why our cheese is a little bit more salty.
Okay, let's talk about the sheep itself. I mean, you have a particular breed of sheep, Paške ovce in Croatian, they adapted to survive on the island these
Yes.
hot summers and cold winters. I read somewhere that Australian sheep were introduced in the 70s and they couldn't stand the extreme heat and they all died. So this is a special kind of sheep, and that's just one part of being a hardy sheep is one thing. But you also have a sheep that produces very little milk in comparison to, let's say, Manchego sheep. Your sheep, you need 16 to 19 sheep to produce each 5-pound wheel of cheese. So it's a very little yield.
Yes. I call Paška ovca or Pag sheep a super animal because it's very resistant to these tough conditions where she lives. It brings almost a half liter of milk daily. So it's not a lot of milk that produce. You need 7 liters for one wheel.
Well, yeah, that in comparison, from what I'm reading, the Manchego is producing 2.5 liter, let's just say, to yours half. And that's probably part of the reason why Paški cheese tends to be more expensive than
Yes.
others, because you don't have a lot of milk. And I also understand that you guys buy from cooperative and you guys pay the highest price of milk in the world at one point.
You pointed out the reasons because a lot of people are also always asking questions why it's so expensive. Yes, we pay almost €2 for 1 liter or 1 kilo of Pag sheep milk. And that is the highest price of sheep's milk anywhere. The Pag Cheese factory where I work, we have our own herd that has a little bit more than 3,000 sheep. 20 people just working outside on our pastures, taking care of our sheep. Also, we buy milk from 134 cooperants, that are 134 families from the island of Pag that have their own little herd of sheep. I'm very proud because some of our cooperants are selling milk to us for more than 40 years, which very few cheese factories in Croatia can say. So I'm very proud that we have cooperants for such a long year. That means that they are satisfied with our cooperation.
Yeah, that must be going through the multiple generation. How many sheep are on the island in total?
There's a number of 35,000 sheep on the island. So outnumbers
People,
the number
5
of
to
people.
1.
Yes.
Wow, that's a lot of sheep.
Yes.
But you know what? Like, they're not. You would think if there's that many sheep, it's not like you drive to Pag and there's sheep everywhere. You can't really see them everywhere. They're in certain places. Tell us, how is actually the production? Milking is only specified in a certain season, correct?
Now is the season of where our Pag shepherds have the most work. So it begins by the beginning of December when there are lambs. So sheep gives birth. So we have a first lamb, and then after that milking. So this is the period of year. In this first part of year, from January to July, there is a production and the milking. And in this period, no matter what are life or weather conditions, Pag shepherd must milk their sheep twice a day, in the morning and in the evening. So it's a very hard job. You think that maybe it's not, but it's really, it's every day, no matter what weather or life conditions, every day, twice a day.
You said the Buddha makes, all these great things for Pag, for the sheep, right? But Yugo brings a lot of headaches in Dalmatia, doesn't
Yes.
it? If I remember, when it's Yugo, everybody's cranky.
Yes. Bura is much more liked here in Croatia. When it's Bura, you feel nice, and you know that the nice weather will come, because Bura brings nice and sunny weather. But it's always cold wind, and sometimes here in Pag, we go out of the electricity when it's Bura, because it's such a strong wind. It brings this salt to the wires, and then our electricians, they have to wash the wires, and then we run out of electricity, which is very annoying, very, very annoying.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yes, we like Bura, and it's nice to take a walk when it's Bura, but Yugo is more, you feel like sleepy.
It's a heavy wind. Let's just
yes,
put it
it's a
away.
heavy wind.
There's a certain heaviness in the air.
Yes, they said that in the past, in Dubrovnik Republic, they have this law that you cannot make any decisions when it's Yugo wind.
That's right. That used to be in the Dubrovnik Republic when it
Yes.
was in effect. Yeah, the Senate wouldn't make any decision when it was Yugo because
Yes.
everybody was under the weather. Where I'm from in Pojana, our port is facing south, so Yugo brings all the garbage. I always hated it, because it just fills up the whole, porat with all the crap.
Yes,
But,
Bura is better.
yeah, I agree with you there. I agree with you there.
And I wanted to say also, when it's Bura, we are totally cut off the world. So our ferry doesn't go, our bridge is closed. So we are cut off the world when there is this hurricane.
Yeah, when
of
it's
Bura.
strong. I got it.
Yes.
Recently, your cheese got protected designation of origin, which basically means that it's protected the way it's made. No one can really make that cheese unless it's made by certain specification on the island of Pag, I assume. What does it mean to you to have this designation for Paški cheese? I know the application, it took a long time, but you guys finally got approved. What does it mean to have this designation? So no one can basically make the cheese and put a stamp on it? Does it have to make it in your island? Tell me.
That mark means that cheese is produced on the island, and it can only be produced on the island of Pag from the milk of Pag sheep. So in that way, our customers are sure that the cheese that they bought is produced on the island of Pag. Because in history, there was a lot of copying, and people also sometimes were very angry because they bought some cheese that is...
It was sold as Paški
yes,
cheese, but,
but
it wasn't. And they can't tell the difference,
yes,
right?
now they are sure when they buy a cheese with the label Paški Sir. Paški means from Pag, Sir means cheese in Croatian. That means that they bought it and it was produced on the island of Pag. They can be sure because no label on the market with this name, Paški Sir, can be sold if it's not produced on the island of Pag and it's not certified, because we can only use this name to sell the cheese. For us, Paški Sir is not just a cheese. It's more than a cheese, more than food. It is something that is part of our identity, part of our heritage, and part of our tradition, and something that we are very proud of.
I should also mention that Paški Sir is the first Croatian cheese to earn such a distinction, as does, let's just say, Italians, Parmigiano, Reggiano, Manchego had
Pecorino,
it. So
yes.
it's kind of nice that in the Pecorino, it's nice that you guys got the first one.
Yes.
Let's talk about actually eating the cheese. Okay, this is my favorite part. Let me ask you something. Okay, so there's a lot of misinformation when it comes to cheese storage, eating, serving. Tell me, I mean, this is my best practice, okay? I like to take it out the refrigerator 20 minutes before I eat it to come to room temperature. What is your recommendations for storing Paški Sir?
Yes, it is the best to store it in the fridge. Although, when there is a little bit colder room, such as, konoba,
Yeah, we
konoba.
used to have konoba, but we kept this here before.
Yes.
You're right, with the oil and...
When you have konoba, you don't need a fridge, but most of the people don't have konoba, so you can put it in fridge. And it's the best to wrap it with some paper. You protect it. If sometimes happen that mold is on it, you just have to cut the first piece or the first slice, and you can eat cheese anyway. So it's nothing wrong with it.
No, I agree with you, and I also I feel personally, I don't know if you're gonna agree with me, that it's better to wrap it in something breathable than to put it in a Ziploc plastic bag
Yes,
that doesn't
yes.
have any air.
Better.
That being one thing, and the second thing, yes, the mold is the thing that most people are a little freaked out. But what they don't realize is the mold is actually what it tells you is that it hasn't been treated with any chemical and that it's all natural.
Yes.
If you don't see any mold on fruit or cheese, there's something was put on it for that mold doesn't happen. So mold is a natural thing that happens. Just scrape it off or cut a little piece, and you should not worry about it that much.
Yes, that's true. And you said correctly, it's best before consuming to put it on the room temperature, just that it gets this special flavor, because when it's too cold, you don't have an opportunity to taste it as good as it's on the room temperature.
I agree. I like when
Yes.
it leaks out all that oil
Yes.
and it gets real, really nice. Now, what do you recommend it besides serving it whole? What are the good things to eat it with?
We in Croatia, we are very traditional, so we mostly eat it for the appetizer with prosciutto from Dalmatia or with some Slavonian ham. We often eat it like an appetizer and with olives and like that, but in recent time, it's very nice to eat it especially when it's older. Just the cheese itself with the wine and with some olives. And also it's very nice with the sheep cheeses to put some fig jam or some nuts.
Now, do you recommend any particular wine with Paški cheese?
If it's younger, with some white wine, which is not so hard. And when it's older, maybe with some nice red wine and some stronger wine.
What about the aging process? What does the aging process do to the cheese?
It does a lot. It's very important because for me, younger and older cheeses are two completely different cheeses. Younger cheese, they even look different and they taste different. Everything is different. When it's the cheese is young, then it's softer, it's lighter, and it's not so hard, not so piquant. And when it's older, it's darker. It's very tasty and very piquant. Cheese is aging, it loses weight because it's, we say that kalira, or it loses weight.
It becomes a little drier,
yes,
drier, and it has a little of a stronger flavor as
Yes.
it ages.
Yes, so it's a very, very important phase of the cheese production.
How many cheeses do you make besides your signature Paški cheese?
We produce 10 other types of cheese except Paški Sir cheese. Yes, we produce 2 mixed milk cheeses, Dalmatinac, which is a mixture
I like that one a lot.
It's a mixture of cow and sheep milk. And we also have Pramenko, which is also a mixture of cow and sheep milk. But the difference is that Dalmatinac has a little bit more cow's milk and Pramenko has a little bit more sheep's milk. Then we have also 2 cow's milk cheeses, Primorac and Trappist. We have a cheese with sage, with truffles, and with paprika.
I understand that you're introducing cream cheese this year. This is something new
Yes,
for you, right?
yes, this is something completely new. It is now in December, it was first on the market. The first buyer was Konzum, and yes, Konzum is a very big Croatian supermarket chain. And yes, we produce 2 cream cheeses. One is from mixed milk, from cow and sheep, and the other is with truffles. And it's very nice product because it is made from the leftovers of our production of cheese with truffles and mixed milk cheese. In one phase of production, when we shape the cheese, when we put it in the mold, and then it gets this shape of wheel, then we cut
excess
we
that's
cut
over it.
these things to shape it a little bit. And before we didn't know what to do with this. They looked like glister. They looked like
right, like worms.
Yes, yes. And but this was cheese like the cheese in the mold. But we have to shape it. So this product for me is very nice because it's sustainable. We bought this machine for cheese processing and for making cheese spreads. And from December this year or last year, we started to sell the cheese.
I know that your family is part of this ownership structure of the Paška Sirana, and I know that this means a lot to you personally. I understand this is part of your life. But let me ask you something. How much does this cheese means to the island of Pag and its people?
Like I've said before, it means a lot. For us, for people from Pag, this cheese is not just a cheese, it's not just the food. It's more than a cheese, more than food. It's part of our identity, part of our tradition, and part of us. Paški Sir is something that we are really proud of. I was in New York in 2017, and I cannot explain this excitement that I felt when I saw our cheese in the shops on Manhattan, and coming from a really small place and really small country, and my heart was so big and so full. I couldn't describe to anyone this feeling. It's very, very nice and I'm very thankful to the Forever Cheese company because it brought cheese to United States. Forever Cheese and Michelle, they did a lot of work for promoting Paški Sir worldwide. So Paški Sir is more and more becoming a world brand because of enthusiasm of the people like you and like Michelle and like all the other cheese experts that recognize it, and also because of the awards that we won, not just Paška Sirana, but the other producers. Paški Sir always, when it goes to the competition, it wants whether it's a gold or silver or bronze medal. It always is one of the best cheeses.
Yeah, you won a lot of awards
and
over the years.
We are spoiled now also.
I know that is true, and I just wanted to touch something that you just said. I know you're from small island, and I am from even smaller place. I am right across the channel from you, and my town only has 200 people, and I am proud when I see Croatian products anywhere in the world. And this is part of my reason for doing this podcast is I want to introduce the wonderful Croatian products to the people all around the world, because we're all proud of what you guys do, and we like to come home and we like to enjoy what it is. So I do want to thank you for coming on and spending a few minutes with us. But I do have one more question. Island of Pag is a small island. There's 1,000 islands in Croatia, if anybody doesn't know. But Pag Island's got a lot of stuff going for it. First of all, you have the cheese. That we already discussed. Then you have Zrče, which is like the party capital of the world, okay? A little too old for me, but I know what it is. Then you have the Pag lamb, which, lamb and Croatian people, it's like, you can't take one from the other. And then you also have the štrike, or whatever we call it, the lacing that the ladies do in Pag, which are also world famous. So for a small island, you guys have a lot of wonderful things that you guys produce.
Yes, I'm so proud of that because yes, Paški Sir, Pag lamb, Pag cheese, and Pag salt they have PDO. It's really rare that Croatia is a little country and Pag is a little island. And on one island there are 3 protected products. It's very, very interesting and very nice. And also you mentioned Zrče. There are a lot of people that are against this beach, which is called like Croatian Ibiza. But I have to say that 2 years ago when I was on Zrče, when I wasn't for a long time. When I was younger, almost every day. But for a long time, I didn't go there. But 2 years ago, when I was there, I was really. It is so impressive. It's a great thing, and it's so nice. And so I was also in that particular moment. I said to myself, oh my God, my island is so special with this cheese, lamb, with the salt, and also with this beach, which is like Croatian Ibiza, very, very, very special. And also from last year, we got the first Michelin star restaurant, which is also very special. Last year, New York Times, there was an article, add this cheese to your party board. We were very, very happy that New York Times was writing about the cheese.
Absolutely. We hope this summer that we come and we get to eat in the restaurant. I did hear about that, and you guys should be all proud. I want to thank you so much for joining us, and I want to wish you nothing than continued success.
Thank you so much for giving me a chance to talk about my beautiful island. Thank you so much.
We are grateful that you took time from your busy day to listen to the Flavor of Croatia podcast. If you enjoyed the show, we would love if you would share it with your friends and leave a rating and review to whatever app you use to listen to us. Your feedback and ratings helps others discover our podcast. Flavor of Croatia podcast is brought to you by Adriati Gourmet, importers of premium Croatian foods. You can find them at adriatigourmet.com, or you can click on the link in the show notes. Thank you again for listening. Until next time, Bog I Hrvati.